Hi, I'm David Baker. I'm the general manager of KALA Radio at St. Ambrose University. And we're here at Ragged Records today in Trash Can Annie for an episode of Favorite Finds with KALA. Can't think of an iconic Rolling Stones album. And you know, Mick Jagger would probably punch me in the mouth right now. Oh, look at this bad boy. That's an original, their Satanic Majesty's Request with the, it's like the Kellogg Sports Cards 3D cover, which is pretty significantly difficult to find, by the way. That's rare. REM, Queen. Am I up to 4 already and I'm up to J? Oh, look at this. This is pretty risque. It's the Two Virgins album. Do not remove the sleeve, Bob says, because, well, you know, they might not be wearing clothes under there. Actually, they're not. They're naked under there. So first I grabbed Miles Davis' Bitches Brew, which was a real turning point in music. First of all, the artwork on the cover is phenomenal. The music is progressive, avant-garde in some ways. As an album listening experience, it's out there. Is Miles trying to scare us in some of these songs? I think he might be. I mean, it's a real mood music. I remember playing this on KALA one day when a thunderstorm came in, and maybe that's my best memory of this, is playing some of these tracks. Miles runs the voodoo down, I believe is one of the tracks, and it's great music to watch a thunderstorm roll in by. But talk about a tumultuous era in jazz music when jazz was really transitioning from mainstream and bop, hard bop music into fusion and rock jazz or jazz rock. Yeah. I also pulled this album. This is a reprint, of course, of the 1973, charted in 74, Band on the Run from Paul McCartney and Wings, featuring Denny Lane and his wife Linda and Paul, Sir Paul. And Paul plays a lot of the instruments. He does all the drumming on it, and this is quite a album statement that Paul made at the time. All the songs have to, thematically, they have to do with freedom and being free. And in some ways, I think Paul was saying he was free of the Beatles at that point. So it's a great album that's got several singles off of it. Hell on Wheels, Jet, Band on the Run, 1985 was an album hit that got some radio play too. So Band on the Run, that's a winner. So I had to pull some Bob Dylan, and I was looking for Highway 61 Revisited, but I ended up with Bringing It All Back Home, which features Mr. Tambourine Man. I knew that, but I never realized Maggie's Farm was on here, which is a great song about the labor movement and someone just not being oppressed by some kind of a boss person on the farm, technically was what it's about. And then there's also Subterranean Homesick Blues, which I'm not sure what it's about, but that's the great song where there's a music video or a film that was made at the time, and Bob Dylan's got all these cards, and he's taking the cards and he's tossing them aside with the lyrics of the song, keeping up with the words from the particular track with the visual. This is, to me, in my own personal opinion, the best Beatles album ever made. This came out August of '66. It was a departure from the Mop Top Beatles, moving the Beatles beyond, even though Revolver came out in '66, in '65, Rubber Soul was kind of part one of this. And as the Beatles evolved into more experimental sounds and this particular album, they were still unfortunately out on the road doing songs like Ticket to Ride and I Feel Fine and things like that, because they were under contract to still tour. But they were out there doing those songs on the road, and meanwhile in the studio they were doing Tomorrow Never Knows and She Said, and other songs. On this particular album, there are 2 singles that people would know. That's Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby on here, a double A-sided single that came out in August of '66. So highly recommended. Klaus Voormann is the artist who did the cover. He's a renowned bass player as well. But it's got some of the best songs on here from the Beatles, and in my opinion, some of McCartney's wittiest and most fun songwriting that Beatle Paul has ever done. So ultimately, one of my favorite albums of all time is Pet Sounds from the Beach Boys. came out in 1966, Brian Wilson decided that he could spend more time working on a studio production if he didn't have to worry about making all of the music himself. So he brought in some great musicians, and we had this wrecking crew. People like Hal Blaine on drums, the people who worked with Phil Spector, all these musicians were in the studio. And Brian invented sounds as a producer and made music based on his emotions and his feelings. And everything, instead of it just being a band going in and bass player, you play bass, drummer, you drum, and maybe you sing also, there was more time that Brian could spend on the production side because other people were making that music. So he was the producer of the music, much as George Martin, the Beatles producer, would put things together. So you had singles off of this album like Wouldn't It Be Nice and Sloop John B. But then also you had some of these really haunting songs. This was also a single that was credited to Brian Wilson as a solo artist, Carol I Know, which is this, oh my gosh, it's this song that makes you cry, but you're glad at the same time. So, and that's a lot of the Beach Boys, what they did with Pet Sounds. So, fantastic album, highly recommended. And of course, while you're here at Ragged Records, check out Trash Can Annie. Laura has kindly adorned me in this beach-themed shirt. Shall we call it a beach shirt? I guess so, you know, and it looks great. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I want to thank Ragged Records and Trash Can Annie for having us down here today. This has been Favorite Finds. Remember, support local, shop local, and I love records. You should check out records and cool fashion too.